Hello Leo friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Leo November 2021 Astrology Must-Knows Horoscope Forecast. Definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com to get even more information about how you can use the starry opportunities of this time and the upcoming times. And you want to interface there with all of the free goodies I make for you each month. You don't want to miss anything I work hard to make you. And you can see that website, if you forget it by the end of the video, in the little more button. If you click on the more button underneath the video, all of these sites will be revealed of all of the things that I do. All right, the next thing is if you want to be an astrologer as your profession, or you just want to get more into astrology and you resonate with my style of teaching, just to help your friends and your family in sort of just a way following your passion, you will love my Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course. And if you think I go into lots of details in my free offerings, you should see the crazy comprehensive, very well organized program that I have there. So you can see it at lumelife.com, L-U-M-E life.com. Remember that website also because I do have free courses there, including one on abundance. So what do we have going on this month? Well, we've got 2 admin notes for Leos to make the most of this video. The first is that this is for you if Leo is your sun or your moon or your rising, or even if Leo is your Mercury or Mars or Venus or whatever you go into. If you are a person that goes very deep in your chart, and I know I have a lot of you and my crew out there, then this is going to have some of your pieces, your bigger of your astrological picture, regardless of your Leo placement. Also, if you're a late degree Leo person, so August 11th through the rest of the sign are 20 to 29 degrees, I definitely recommend you additionally watch my Virgo reports, because, and the later in August you are, the later in degree you are, the more this is true, because you cuspy people have a more complex reading. You need both of the reports to kind of piece everything together. Okay, so November is one of my favorite months of the whole year. Even though you are going to be nervous and feel change in the air from these crazy eclipses and the windup of the Sagittarius-Gemini eclipse cycle, which in general has been super positive, or at least in super positive angle for Leo placements. So we do have things to watch out for. As usual, we're going to talk about the things to celebrate and the things to watch out for. But I love, love, love this month. And one of the biggest must-knows about that is that it dances in between the personal planet retrogrades. Now, I'm a Sag and I love action and I love getting things done and forward movement. And so I know Leos are the same way, right? You're always in some set state of prolific expression and, just activity and doing things and creating things. And November is a month where it's time for active web weaving. You know, that analogy I always use about how, like, the retrogrades, which we just had Mercury retrograde in September, October, then we're going to have Venus retrograde in December and January. And so November, we're dancing in between those retrogrades. And the retrogrades are a time to sit back and watch the webs that you've already created and let the food come to you and kind of just do some stuff in the backdrop, but not like make new webs all over the place. But November is a time to make new webs all over the place. So you're going to be very excited to have the green light for you to do your launches, your engagements, your weddings, your big parties, making your plans. This is a great month for making plans. This is also a great month for making plans for the future. You might start to get more clarity about travel for the future and different, international travel and things like that coming up in a big way. Also, it's a time for your launches. Like if you've had a business launch and you want to launch your new business, this is one of my favorite months of the whole year for launching new businesses. And also just for paperwork or big purchases. If you have to buy a house or a car or anything like that, this month has so much great energy. And with the energies moving into Sagittarius, this is especially supportive for Leo because it makes that trine, and you will always feel when the planets are moving through Sagittarius, you will feel more energized, you'll feel more creative. And now that Jupiter is direct, the ruler of Sag, which trines your placements, you will feel that, maybe some things you were just things were moving along, things had gotten stodgy and you're sort of trudging and just getting by. And now you're really feeling your psychic centers waking up, your being able to see the things you need to see further in the future, also being able to create and things that you're excited about as far as your creative babies, and also just anything that you're working on for your business projects. So agreements, paperwork, anything that needs initiative is fully supported at this time. Now, I'm going to put some onus on you to utilize resources that I've made about Venus retrograde. We'll talk a little more about Venus retrograde next month when it actually goes retrograde. But because it rules love, beauty, money, design, things you do to your physical body from a cosmetic standpoint, self-esteem, and it's just such a dominant planet in our day-to-day experience, you really want to know what things are not the best to do during Venus retrograde. So if you search for Annie Botticelli, Venus retrograde, then you will find a bunch of resources. Definitely watch my YouTube video. In 20 minutes, it will give you the download of the top things. You can see more of my Venus retrograde yes or no doing checklist in my book Planetology. And yeah, so you definitely want to start preparing for that, because November 18th, the shadow period for Venus retrograde starts. And you will be feeling it. And Venus retrograde is an amazing time for so many things, but you have to be educated on it. And so I've created tons of resources. I also have a Venus retrograde through the signs and houses blog series on my website at anniehelpsyou.com. Okay, so now something else that I love about this month is a major must know is that there are more sweet aspects compared to salty ones. And this has not been true since May. All of the months since May, we've had more salty aspects than sweet ones, by a landslide in some cases. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of dates to put stars on your calendar. But if you want to know all the aspects, all the dates for the aspects, what you can expect from them, and the general overview of the month written, delivered into your inbox 1 month early, you'll definitely want to sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. If you've been listening to me for years and you have not signed up for my email newsletter yet, then you're really, really missing out, because I only send out a few emails a month, and they're all content rich with helping you to use the energies in the best way and to know what's going on so that you can align your energies to have everything be easier for you. So, put a star on November 26th through 30th in your calendar, because we have a 9 beautiful star aspect pile up, with 7 of those aspects being on the 29th and the 30th. And you'll feel those the days before, the days after, so that whole sort of end of November into December is covered in this. And this is exciting, and it's rare, because usually we have sweet aspects, we have a salty one. It's kind of like, yay, no, right? And they're interacting and blending with each other. But to have so many sweet aspects at once, and to have them so unimpeded by other aspects that are challenging, is very rare. So you definitely will love this. Now, we are starting to go more into the Venus retrograde energies at this time, but that doesn't have to be a bad thing. That can mean love and romance and money and success from the past can start to come in. Contacts from the past can bring blessings. So if you get any nudge around that time, or really, for all of the Venus retrograde time, to contact someone from the past, some really big keys for you can come from past relationships, past contacts, past, anything like that. Okay, so some other must-knows for Leos this month are that we've got Scorpio planets still going on, and Scorpio planets make a square to your Leo placement. So you're definitely feeling some pressure in your interpersonal relationships at this time. This could be either from some conflict or disagreements or strife. This could be from an annoying person who's putting pressure on you to do something that you think is unfair. These Scorpio energies can both unite you into deeper cooperation with people close to you or others, or divide you and cause conflict. And so it might be that you're going deeper with one person and somebody else is annoying you. So it could manifest in both ways. But there's definitely a lot going on in your interpersonal space that can feel tense and can be quite emotional, actually. And it could be your emotions, it could be other people's emotions, and all of this can really be centered around home and family and housing. Okay, so just kind of look out for housing topics to come to a head. In general, there's great prospects for getting into a good housing situation for you and locking into something long-term at this time. But there is the combination of the pressure of you trying to get that done, and just possibly the pressure of moving and getting that sorted out as well. Other people in your family, or in your household, or a business that you have in your household, could also come under some duress. But again, this could be something that promotes a really great outcome that makes things better than they were before. So just notice that you'll have a lot of energy in that home, housing, real estate sector at this time, and a lot of emotion in close relationships or people that you know well. This is reminding me to talk about something that is a long-term theme for Leos, which is testing the viability of your deep relationships. And I think that you have been finding, many of you have been finding, and if you haven't, I think you'll start to notice this more, that people close to you or people in your groups have been, you've been finding some people that you're really excited about and holding on tighter to them. And you've also been finding people that are not what they seem. And this is true whether you're in the spiritual realms where, you know, people are really have the topic of spirit on their mind in your spiritual communities. And this is just in regular day-to-day life. But this topic with your integrity and your beliefs versus other people who are saying that they believe the same things as you, there's definitely something coming up in the bigger term that's sort of changing who you gravitate towards. Now, of special note, if you are noticing that the topic of addictions in your friendships or in the groups or around you are coming up, these are some red flags. You might notice that you, as you're trying to change and improve your life, some of the friends that you have or other people close to you are not trying to do that. And there might be this dissolution. You might also find that people that you're gravitating towards are not being a very good influence on you. And you think about the kinds of things that you're doing, the direction that you're going, and you might have to make some tough decisions. Okay, so that's just kind of this long-term thing that's going on from multiple levels of the chart for Leo that I wanted to mention while we're talking about this here. Okay, so there is a lot of good energy around children and having children and pregnancies, so that is definitely coming up. And there is sort of a continuation of this focus on your stress management and your health. Okay, there are ways that you have been blowing up your body systems by not giving them proper care. And this is definitely a time, it's a long-term theme for you to be asking the questions, is the way you're living sustainable for your physical body? Is the type of schedule you have working for you to be able to do things that are healthy for you, keep your diet on track, things like that? And really back to this stress management, okay? Leos tend to take a lot on with a very nice can-do-it attitude, but you might be wearing yourself thin, okay? So just kind of look out for that. All right, so now let's talk about the eclipses, okay? So the Gemini-Sagittarius eclipse cycle that's been so great for you all is coming to a close. You know, along with it, some chapters are closing, and we're going to the new levels of some things that were coming up from the standpoint of working from home, working in the office, going to school, education online presence for your business, and anything having to do with international connections, immigration, and those kind of topics. So notable things coming up there. And it's the end of a cycle. So that should be interesting to see what closes out here. You are going to have to say some goodbyes to things, and some of those will be welcome and some of those won't be. But remember, what's most important, big must know at eclipse time, is that the eclipses are directly linked to our north and south node placements, which are our dharma and our karma. So whenever we're in eclipse season, which is strongest now in November and December, it's a time where you have a chance to clear the karmic slates, to clear out ancestral programming that is not beneficial for you or the people to come, future generations. And that's including genetic diseases. And you'll be hearing more about this topic from me in the future. I've talked about this in past reports, but there are scientific discoveries that are occurring. Specifically, you can look at the work of Bruce Lipton that's talking about how DNA does not run the show, how it's the environment that the DNA expresses in that's running the show, which talks about our inner and outer environment being able to turn on and shut off gene expression. And so think about this in context to your health, and think about this in context for your ancestral patterns, because this is coming up front and center for you. So there are going to be lots of new changes going on with the Taurus-Scorpio polarity, because As we end the Gemini-Sagittarius eclipse cycle, we're starting the Taurus-Scorpio eclipse cycle. This eclipse cycle will be from the end of 2021 to the end of 2023. It was last in effect from the end of 2012 to the end of 2014, so you can think back to what was going on in those times. Similar topics will be coming up, not necessarily similar outcomes, but lessons we had opportunities to learn then are coming back around now. And the degree to which we've learned them might be the degree to which we don't have to deal with them anymore and we can go to the next level of positive expression. But you'll see these themes coming up. And this has to do with your individual money and self-sufficiency and resources versus others and shared resources. Now, while this is going to come up for you individually, it's also going to come up in the community. It's also going to come up in the world because they're it's a holographic reality. What we're dealing with on our smaller basis is also echoing out into the world experience. And astrologically, that's happening all at one time. So we are going to see food, agriculture, the switching around of crops because of different, global climate disasters and things going on where certain crops are not growing, certain areas that were used for farmland, don't have water. There's things going on with the sustainability of the way things were, which means there's going to be new ideas for how to work things now. And there is going to be a strong component of technology and futuristic thinking to this. So think about that as it might apply to your individual things. If you're running across a roadblock with something with your money, with something with your sustainability, with something with your shared resources, there might be an innovative new idea or a transcendent burst from spirit that can solve this problem for you. Einstein was supposedly said, I don't really know this for sure, but that you can't create a solution with the same line of thinking that you created the problem. And so this is sort of what's cracking at this time is we have to think of different solutions, whether it's your individual issue or whether it's a global issue, with a different way of looking at it than the way the problem was created, okay? So that's coming up. So the new eclipse cycle of Taurus and Scorpio is really highlighting the home versus work, family versus your place out in the world, sectors of your life. So over the next couple of years, you're going to see a lot of reshuffling around with family and work and family, the combining of work and family, housing, moving for work, working from home, your place out in the world versus your home family. All of that is up for shuffling around, and there are going to be big changes in those arenas. Now, you can see more about how these eclipses will affect you by looking at my eclipse series, and I'll tell you which ones are specific for Leo. If you go, you can either search for each of these titles, Annie Botticelli, Eclipses in, and then I'll tell you the signs to look for, or you can go to my YouTube page, scroll to the bottom, go to the eclipse playlist. So Leos will want to watch Eclipses in Taurus. You want to watch, because that's the November 19th, 27-degree lunar eclipse is going to be then. And so Eclipses in Taurus, you'll want the Eclipses in Sagittarius because that's the December eclipse. You'll also want to watch Eclipses in Capricorn or the 10th house, okay? Because that is the house that this is going to be featured. Now, if you are a later degree Leo or even a middle degree Leo, we'll say all August born have a chance to actually have this eclipse on the line between the 9th or 10th house or closer into the 9th house. But since we already have another eclipse in the sign of Sagittarius, and this is leaning towards the house of Sagittarius, you're covered by what potential changes might come there by watching the Eclipses in Sagittarius video. So you August born, you kind of, even if there's a shift to the location of the Taurus eclipse, you're covered as far as its manifestations by watching the Eclipses for Sagittarius video, which you would be watching because of the eclipse in the sign of Sagittarius in December. So hopefully that makes sense. You might have to rewind it and listen to that a couple of times. But so those are the areas of life. Now, if you watch those videos, you'll see lots more details about how I've seen eclipses in these areas manifest for people over the many years that I've been working with astrology. Well, as usual, I've given you lots of information to help you make the most of the starry opportunities. If you'd like even more information, you can go to anniehelpsyou.com, which is where you can connect in with my podcast, all of my blog sites, my books, my courses. I've got all kinds of free goodies, so you can check all that out at anniehelpsyou.com. You can check out my school, lumelife.com, L-U-M-E, life.com. That's my school, Luminous Life Multiversity. And if you'd like to be a professional astrologer or just learn astrology because you love it and you want to help yourself and your friends, you can see my course there, Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course. If you think I go into a lot of details with the free offerings that I do every month, then you should see the details I go into in the comprehensive, organized nature of this course that will equip you to do whatever you'd like to do with astrology. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye!